I sold my shares in the high-end club and am now ready to get married. But my two partners, who swore they wouldn't marry anyone but me, still don't know. They're too busy throwing a celebration for the new male secretary. It was clearly me who taught a client how to ride horses, got injured in the process, and secured a huge recharge deal. But the male secretary watched me, barely able to straighten my back, get sent to the hospital, and then return to the club with the good news to take credit. And those two just blindly believed him. The next day, a photo of me kissing the client passionately while riding horses was wildly circulated in the internal chat group. And everyone mocked. Everyone mocks me, saying that the wealthy clients I have are all a result of me sleeping with them. I lay in the hospital bed, trying to call and explain, but they said, "You hurt your back while kissing on horseback. Don't make up some story about falling off the horse. If you're too ashamed to face people, just stay home and stop trying to gain our sympathy. Oscar did well. We're celebrating his achievement. Please don't come and ruin the mood." On the day I was discharged and returned to the club, I sold my shares to their arch-nemesis and called my family. "I'm willing to marry the crippled Miss Lynn. You can start preparing the wedding." Chapter 1. As Diana and Elena walked past me, they immediately furrowed their brows upon hearing, "Wedding? What wedding? It's just 10 days until the wedding, so no need to hide it from them. My wedding. I'll send you invitations later." They, of course, didn't believe it. Just then, my mom sent over dozens of wedding plans and invitations, and my phone was buzzing nonstop. They leaned over to see, and when they realized I was marrying a cripple, they couldn't hold back their laughter. Diana sneered, "The Lynn family from a city. Did they pay to make you their horse servant?" Elena, clutching her stomach, laughed endlessly. "I heard Miss Lynn is a useless cripple, paralyzed from the waist down. Do you really think she'll make you happy?" The two of them, who once swore they'd spend their lives with me, now mocked me so hideously. Oscar, who had come to find them, overheard our conversation and looked at me in disbelief. "Chairman Fu, didn't you promise to be Miss Mary's boyfriend? Aren't you playing with fire, dating multiple people like this?" Thanks to him, now the entire club thinks I'm sleeping with a major client. I shot him a cold glance and replied, "When the boss speaks, you should know your place. I'll pretend you lack manners, but don't steal my credit and spread rumors about me. Don't you know that's illegal?" My sharp words made Oscar's face go red. "Chairman Fu, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have spoken out of turn. But when you and Miss Mary came out of the horse ranch that day, you never said this should be kept quiet." He slapped his forehead, looking regretful. "I was so stupid. No wonder Miss Mary is willing to put the order in my name. It's a hush money." I raised my hand to hit him, but two pairs of hands stopped me in unison. "Domingo, if you don't want others to know, don't do it. Why are you taking it out on Oscar?" "Oscar didn't say anything wrong. No matter who you marry, you shouldn't be toying with people's feelings. That's just so low." I was so angry I almost laughed, then went straight back to my office. After years of friendship and working side by side for 5 years, they don't trust my character but would rather believe Oscar, who's only been here for less than 2 months. I didn't want to get upset over these petty people, so I continued to sift through the wedding plans my mom had sent me. But just 2 minutes later, Diana posted in the group, telling me to give Oscar the car. The reason was that Oscar had secured the biggest recharge order since the club's opening, so he deserved to use the club's best car as a reward. Hundreds of people in the group, most of them quick to please, congratulated Oscar. But I wasn't a lone soldier. Immediately, some people questioned whether this was the right decision. Oscar, a recent graduate who's been here only 2 months, was being given the GM's exclusive car. Wasn't that a little too much? Just as I was about to privately message those defending me to calm down, Oscar posted a voice message in the group, playing the victim. "Miss Elena, it's all my fault. That day I was so focused on winning the client that I didn't protect Chairman Fu's privacy. I'm not worthy of using his car, and I have no face to meet him again. So I'd like to resign." Oscar's voice, feigning guilt, made me want to throw up. Elena stormed into my office, shouting at me, "Look at what you've done. Hurry up and clean up your car. Then give Oscar the keys. I don't want you to lead public opinion and bully this young man who just entered society." Diana followed close behind, urging me to go to the parking lot, while still comforting Oscar in the group. Just as someone screamed that Oscar had gone up to the rooftop, both of the women turned pale and rushed up to the roof in a panic. I withdrew my gaze from their anxious figures and began contacting potential buyers for my shares. Chapter 2. Diana and her arch-nemesis must have found out that I was selling my shares from somewhere, because they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. I glanced at the email I sent to Diana and Elena. Yesterday marked the 30th day. Since they hadn't replied yet, they no longer had the right of first refusal. Freya gave me 3 days to consider, and I immediately replied that I could sign the share transfer agreement right now. After I sold my shares, the two of them who had been trying to win Oscar back went down to the parking lot. When they saw I hadn't yet cleaned out the car, they lost patience. "I told you to pack your personal items, not move house. Do you really need to drag this out?" Upon hearing this, Oscar clenched his lips and looked at me with red eyes. Chairman Fu, I'm sorry. I don't actually need this fancy car. It's fine. If you like it, you can have it. I'll even give you the GM position as well. My words immediately flustered Oscar, making him completely at a loss. Gone was the aggressive demeanor of someone trying to steal my credit. Domingo, what's with your sarcasm? It's just a car. Do you really need to be so petty about it? We have a whole collection of luxury cars in my family's parking garage. Why would I care about some GM-only car? The disdain on my face clearly irritated Elena. She grabbed the car keys from the desk and went to the parking lot to throw all my belongings into the trash. Diana shot me a quick glance and then took Oscar to personally show him how to handle the car. Finally, after work hours, Diana opened the door to my office. Don't leave after work. We're having a dinner to celebrate Oscar learning how to drive. I was a little stunned. Is learning to drive really worth celebrating? But I didn't refuse, treating it as my last dinner with the colleagues. At the dinner table, I realized that the few employees who had defended me in the group chat had all been fired by Diana. Under some pretext, I quickly messaged them privately. I found out that Diana and Elena had ordered them not to contact me and report to me, or they'd be blacklisted from the industry. In order to back up Oscar, the two didn't even care about the club's senior employees. This move of killing the chicken to warn the monkey ensured that no one else would dare to offend the two big bosses for me. Some even took the opportunity to mock me. Chairman Fu, you didn't show up at Oscar's celebration dinner last time, but today you have to toast him properly. If it weren't for him securing Miss Mary, who knows how much more you'd have to sacrifice. The insinuations made me recall the disgusting remarks I overheard in the restroom at the club today. Domingo really has thick skin. I thought he was really impressive, but it turns out he only got by with methods like this. He flirts with anyone. How could he have any dignity? Under everyone's gaze, I took a small sip of my drink. Diana's face immediately darkened, and she knocked my drink out of my hand. Elena, as if in perfect sync, poured me a glass of red wine. You made Oscar feel so bad today. It's only right to apologize with a drink, right? And besides, you owe Oscar a drink from the last celebration dinner you skipped. Without thinking, I threw the wine in Elena's face. Who is he to deserve a drink from me? Everyone at the table was shocked by my action. Even the usually aloof Diana simply refilled my glass, stubbornly offering it to me. Domingo, this drink is for the unity of the club. Whether you like it or not, you have to drink. Oscar, feigning politeness, tried to intercede on my behalf. Elena, I know Chairman Fu looks down on me. If he doesn't want to drink, it's fine. Please don't make it awkward for me. But Elena, with the wine still dripping down her face, wasn't having it. Chapter 3. Extremely irritated, she slapped me hard across the face, then took advantage of my momentary surprise to force the wine down my throat. You, who rely on your body to win clients, how dare you look down on Oscar? The two women, fully aware of my alcohol allergy, were now force-feeding me alcohol for Oscar's sake, and their language was getting increasingly crude. As soon as the alcohol hit my throat, I began feeling dizzy and struggled to breathe, tiny beads of sweat appearing on my forehead. But neither of them paid any attention to my condition, instead focusing on pouring Oscar his favorite drink. Oscar downed the drink in one go and flashed me a cheerful smile. Chairman Fu, thank you for giving up something so precious. I'll work harder from now on. Others thought he was talking about the car, but I read more into his eyes. He was set on taking down both Diana and Elena. Well then, I wish you a speedy wedding to the boss and a successful rise to the top of your career. After I said that, I made to head to the restroom to induce vomiting, but Diana blocked me. Her hand outstretched. What are you saying? Apologize to Oscar. I was covered in an unbearable itch, unable to conceal the pain in my chest. With my face flushed and my eyes bloodshot, I looked up at Diana and asked, I'm allergic to alcohol. Why are you forcing it on me? Her hand froze in midair. Your grandpa and your dad are famous for drinking 1,000 cups and never getting drunk. How could you be allergic? Elena, who had been the one forcing me to drink, also questioned me. I only made you drink a little sip. How could a man not even drink 1 drop of alcohol? Even if you're allergic, it's not life-threatening. They didn't understand allergies, so of course, they didn't think it was a big deal. I remembered the time when I accidentally ate beer duck while dining with clients. They immediately panicked and rushed me to the hospital to have my stomach pumped. Domingo, I should have double-checked the menu. Please don't get hurt. Back then, Diana and Elena watched me go pale from the stomach pumping, heartbroken and even crying. They cooked me special soups for my stomach and took turns staying up all night by my side, worried I might not survive. The next day, both of them showed up at the club with dark circles under their eyes, working tirelessly to make up for the trouble I'd caused by eating the wrong thing. We had endured the toughest moments of starting the business together, and now, the two who swore they'd never marry anyone but me had turned their backs to support Oscar and hurt me. Can you take me to the hospital? My throat was swollen, and I spoke hoarsely, swaying, barely able to stand. One of the female employees noticed something was wrong and quickly rushed to help me, but Diana pushed her away, forbidding her from touching me. Domingo, is this how you use that seductive look to lure clients into opening memberships? The colleague who was trying to help me turned pale. Miss Elena, I think you've misunderstood Chairman Fu. He's clearly struggling to breathe. Something is seriously wrong. Elena sneered. He's just embarrassed and pretending. It's no wonder Elena couldn't tell something was off. The last time I had an allergic reaction, I tried my best to cover it up so they wouldn't feel guilty for making the mistake with the food. And since they'd rushed me to the hospital so quickly, I hadn't ingested much alcohol, so they believed my reaction was just a small allergy. Oscar had been watching the scene, clearly enjoying the drama. He picked up a glass of water and tried to shove it toward me. Chairman Fu, no matter how you won your clients, you're still the club's big hero. We will always appreciate your hard work. His words only served to add fuel to the fire. Diana, who had been holding me up, suddenly pulled away. It was as if I was some kind of filthy thing. Since you don't want to stay here, then go ahead and leave, she said, rushing to the sink to wash her hands repeatedly. Under everyone's scornful gaze, I started to leave, intending to find my allergy medication in the car. But then I remembered. The car had been given to Oscar, and all my things were thrown away. I turned to head for the hospital, but Oscar wouldn't let me leave. As he tugged at me, the water in the cup splashed onto my skin, and I realized with a jolt that it wasn't water at all. It was high-proof liquor. My already red skin burned like needles, and I reflexively shoved Oscar away. The drink splashed all over both of us. Oscar let out a loud cry. Chairman Fu, I'm sorry, I grabbed the wrong cup. Elena quickly dashed over and ordered someone to buy allergy medication for Oscar, but she didn't notice. The majority of the alcohol had spilled on me. Oscar's hand showed no reaction, but my whole body was now flushed red like a cooked shrimp. After washing her hands, Diana returned to see Oscar breathing heavily, and could no longer contain her fury. Chapter 4. She slapped the other side of my face. Domingo, how could you be so vicious? Oscar is doing this all for you, and you just have to make trouble for this young man. In that moment, all the grievances I had been holding back surged up. I forced myself to hold back the tears that were welling in my eyes, giving a bitter smile. Just a few days ago, I clearly saw Oscar posting on social media, bragging about drinking and partying. How could I be allergic to alcohol now when there's just a little bit on my skin? Seeing me smile, Diana grabbed my arm and pulled me in front of Oscar. I don't know what face you have to smile. Apologize to Oscar, now. Elena, busy cleaning Oscar's hand, didn't stop talking. You have to apologize. Oscar's allergic to alcohol, just a drop and he's in agony. The allergy medication quickly arrived, a whole box of it. I shakily extended my swollen right hand, hoping they'd give me a pill too. Without even looking at me, Elena slapped my hand away. My already red hand turned slightly purple from her slap. The sharp, burning pain mixed with a stinging itch that made me shudder. Diana, still watching me like I was a criminal, glared. What's this? You still want to make trouble after refusing to apologize? I shouldn't have expected them to give me a single pill. A colleague nearby, noticing my skin was now bright red, hesitated before speaking up. Miss Elena, Chairman Fu really seems to be allergic to alcohol. Diana frowned, taking a moment to assess the situation, her eyes scanning my skin under the dim lights. I could have sworn I saw a brief flicker of concern in her eyes, but as soon as she saw Oscar scratching uncontrollably, she quickly withdrew any sympathy she might have had. Even if you're really allergic, you deserve it. Now apologize and get lost. Apologizing was out of the question, but I wasn't about to humiliate myself further. Oscar, seeing that I wouldn't back down, gritted his teeth and pretended to be strong. Elena, I'm fine. You should take Chairman Fu to the hospital instead. The allergy is really unbearable. Ah. His sudden scream startled both Diana and Elena, who immediately dialed 120, emergency services. I had no interest in watching this drama unfold. Turning away without a second glance, I left the scene without a care. It had started raining outside, and the cool droplets helped to ease some of my discomfort. Then, Elena suddenly ran up to me. I thought she might have had a moment of conscience, but instead, she just threw my car keychain at my feet. Pack up your stuff. Don't keep leaving things behind and expect me to clean up your mess. I looked at the keychain, soaked in rainwater, and without a second thought, I picked it up and threw it in the trash. Elena was furious, pointing her finger at me. Domingo, what do you mean by that? This keychain had been personally made by her and Diana. In the past, whenever they gave me gifts, they would argue over whose present I preferred. Later, to avoid any hard feelings, they started giving gifts either jointly or on a 50-50 basis so I wouldn't be accused of favoritism. It's dirty now. It should be thrown away. Just like her and Diana, once the heart is gone, it should be discarded. For some reason, Elena felt a fleeting sense of losing something important, but before she could dwell on it, her attention was quickly drawn back to Oscar. I took a taxi in the rain to the hospital, went through stomach pumping, medication, and injections, and didn't feel better until late at night. The next day, I woke up to find my phone flooded with unfamiliar text messages. They were all from strangers sending me flirtatious messages asking if I could meet their special requests. One stranger even sent me a website link, and I soon realized that my personal information had been leaked to a pornographic site. That private photo of me, if I wasn't mistaken, it was one that Diana and Elena had taken. I called them to confront them, but they vehemently denied it. Worse, they turned it around and asked me, "Domingo, can you pay more attention to your private life? This is really bad for the club's reputation. You should take a break from work for a while." Since I had already sold my shares in the club, there was no need to keep working there like a donkey. Fine. My response made them pause for a moment, clearly caught off guard. They hadn't expected me to be so straightforward. Not only did I not make a scene, but my tone even sounded unusually light, almost as if I had just put down a huge burden. "Domingo, you." Diana seemed to want to ask me something, but before she could finish, Oscar called her, and she hung up on me right away. They had acted unjustly, so now they could just wait for me to call the police. Spreading rumors, leaking my private information. Did they really think I was someone easy to mess with? After turning everything over to the police and my lawyer, I quickly packed my bags and flew to City A, preparing for my wedding. Chapter 5. On the plane, I closed my eyes to rest, but my mind was swirling with countless thoughts. Before my grandfather passed away, he arranged a childhood marriage for me. Raised in the countryside, I never wanted to marry hastily, nor did I have any interest in taking over the family business. So, I stubbornly left with Diana and the others to venture into the outside world. My parents couldn't do anything about it, so they let me have my freedom for 5 years. I had once thought I'd make a name for myself, but now I returned, carrying nothing but wounds. When the plane landed in a city, my parents had been waiting at the airport for a long time. Seeing how much more gray hair they had, I couldn't help but regret my rebelliousness over the past 5 years. If I had focused on the family business, maybe my parents wouldn't have had to worry so much. My thoughts were in turmoil, but my mother, with tears in her eyes, hugged me tightly. "How come you've lost so much weight since the last time you came back? You look so pale and sickly. Domingo, you're the heir to a great family, but instead of staying home and helping your grandma with the garden, you insisted on going out to start a business, suffering all kinds of hardship. You really made things easy for your two business partners. By the way, they love you so much. How are they taking it now that you're marrying someone else?" I shook my head gently. "Mom, stop saying such things. They're just business partners. I've already sold my shares. I won't have any more dealings with them." My parents weren't easily fooled. They knew the real reason I didn't want to come back and marry. It was because I still had strong feelings for Diana and Elena. They had tried to probe me many times, asking if I liked either of them. At that time, with two childhood friends and business partners who had struggled alongside me, I couldn't make a decision. I always felt that no matter who I chose, the other would be cut out not only from my love life but from the business as well. I didn't want either of them to be hurt, so I tried to balance my feelings for both. In my heart, I even fantasized that the three of us would stay business partners for life, running the club together, becoming successful, and then traveling the world. But I never expected that my focus on the club's growth would be shattered by the appearance of a new secretary. The care that had been mine for 5 years was suddenly snatched away by him. It hurt, there was no denying it, but human hearts are fickle, and I had no choice but to accept the reality and walk away gracefully. "Domingo, you two didn't have a falling out, did you? I thought it was strange when you agreed to marry Melissa. My mom was worried I was just getting married out of spite. As for my dad, after all these years, he had come to terms with it, so long as I was happy. Breaking a childhood promise wasn't such a big deal." To ease their worries, I did my best to reassure them. "Dad, Mom, I've had enough fun out there. I'm at the age where it's time to settle down and start a family. In the past, I was thoughtless, and I made you worry. But now, the Lin family and ours are closely tied, and by marrying into the Lin family, it will strengthen both the Fu Group and Lin Group. This is a win-win situation." After 5 years of entrepreneurship, when it came to everything outside of Diana and Elena, I could always weigh the pros and cons and make the best choice. Unfortunately, when it came to matters of the heart, I lost miserably. My parents listened to me and were visibly relieved. Back at home, we had a hearty lunch together, but my back, still not fully recovered, started aching again. My parents noticed my discomfort and immediately suggested taking me to see a doctor. I shook my head, refusing. "Domingo, if you let a small ailment drag on, it'll turn into something big. Don't ignore your health." At that moment, I saw Melissa standing at the door, frozen in place. You're not." I never expected that the Melissa I had heard was in a wheelchair would be standing right in front of me, looking perfectly fine. Her long legs looked just like anyone else's. Chapter 6. Melissa was deeply concerned about my health and insisted on taking me to the hospital for a checkup. Reluctantly, I agreed. On the way to the hospital, I wanted to ask her about her legs, but the pain in my back kept me restless, and my thoughts kept wandering back to Diana and Elena. Over the past 5 years, whenever my back ached, I'd been in this same uncomfortable state. At first, they would stubbornly take me to see a doctor, but later, they seemed to stop caring as much. I, a grown man, wasn't the type to complain about every little discomfort, and after all, they had their own lives to live. But when Oscar came to the club and I ended up hospitalized for back surgery, they didn't even visit. They were too busy taking Oscar to all the trendy restaurants for photo ops. The loneliness and helplessness of being alone in the hospital, magnified by their indifference as they let Oscar take the credit for everything and spread rumors that I was unreliable, cut deeply. The pain became so unbearable that I simply became numb to it. In that moment, I was grateful for Oscar's appearance. At least I didn't have to choose between Diana and Elena anymore. Melissa noticed my troubled expression and gently massaged my back. Domingo, just a little longer. We're almost at the hospital. Fortunately, my parents stayed home to give Melissa and me space to bond. Or else I'd have a hard time explaining to them how I had ruined my health chasing after money. Melissa, upon reviewing the surgery records, radiated a chilling aura. For some reason, I felt a little guilty. Melissa, if you mind that I have back problems, we can call off the wedding. After all, the doctor had said that I'd need to be careful from now on with any physical activity. But instead, she raised her eyes, her eyelids red with emotion, and her voice slightly choked. Domingo, it's my fault. If I hadn't insisted on holding you to the marriage promise, you wouldn't have had to suffer so much. Besides, you never rejected me for being a cripple. I was so nervous, rubbing my fingers, bracing myself for her to call off the engagement. But instead, Melissa was apologizing to me. I didn't have time to ask about her legs before my phone rang. It was Diana. Domingo, what's going on? Did you sabotage Oscar's order? Why is Mary insisting on high fees and asking us to refund the money? Don't tell me you're trying to get back at Oscar by kissing Mary again. I didn't want Melissa to misunderstand, so I quickly covered the phone and stepped away to a quieter spot. But Diana assumed I was admitting to it. She immediately became furious. Domingo, don't you realize you're digging your own grave? Are you crazy? I think it's you who's crazy. Ask Oscar about the order. It's none of my business. Then Elena suddenly chimed in. This club was founded by the three of us. How can it not be your business? You need to get in touch with Mary, no matter what it takes. This big client has to keep spending at our club, or it will be a huge loss for us. Elena's insinuations couldn't be more obvious. In the face of their self-interest, I had become the scapegoat. In the past, I had willingly studied clients' preferences and worked hard to win them over. It didn't feel like a sacrifice. Now, looking back, while I was out in the world facing the elements, they only had to handle the club's back-office operations. I had essentially made it too easy for them. Taking a deep breath, I coldly told them, the club is no longer my concern. You two can figure it out yourselves. But they didn't believe me. They thought I was just angry and making empty threats. Domingo, if you help us recover the order, we'll buy you a supercar out of our own pockets. I couldn't help but laugh. Did they really think I cared about a luxury car? I hung up the phone without a second thought and blocked both Diana and Elena. Chapter 7. Out of humanitarian concern. I didn't want Freya to take a huge loss immediately after acquiring shares, so I called her. To my surprise, she laughed and said, "Don't worry, they should suffer a little. Only when they come begging me will they realize what they've lost." Domingo, have you ever thought about partnering with me to open another club? We could split the shares evenly. I politely declined her offer, introduced a few old employees who had been dismissed by Diana to her, and then returned to the examination room. Inside, Melissa was discussing the post-surgery precautions for my waist with the doctor. A warm feeling surged in my heart. On the way home, I told her not to mention anything about my health to my parents. She turned to me and swore, "Don't worry, as long as I'm here, your waist will recover." I looked up and met her earnest gaze, clear and sincere. In that moment, my heart raced. This was a feeling I'd never had when Diana and Elena had confessed their love to me. I blushed and softly responded. From that day on, Melissa visited my home every day. No one expected her to come over every day to help with my rehabilitation. At first, my parents thought we were developing a romantic relationship, occasionally eavesdropping on us by the door. Later, they found out that she was just helping me with my recovery, and they grew to like her more and more. Surprisingly, under her care, my recovery exceeded the doctor's expectations. One evening, my mom pulled me aside to talk about Melissa. I learned that the several versions of the wedding plan she'd sent me were all personally designed by Melissa. When we were picking a wedding plan, I hesitated because every proposal she designed was exactly what I wanted. Domingo, Melissa, after the car accident, never mentioned marrying you again, but we always felt guilty, so we kept testing your feelings. She said if she ended up in a wheelchair forever, even if you wanted to marry her, she wouldn't marry you. To bring her into our family would be a blessing. I never knew that Melissa had kept quiet about the marriage because she didn't want to burden me. I understood why my parents had hidden this from me. If I'd known, I would have felt guilty and married her out of obligation. So, they took on all the pressure, just so I could be myself. The love my parents gave me, combined with Melissa's silent, selfless affection, made me tear up. From then on, Melissa and I were both extremely busy. We went to try on wedding dresses, take wedding photos, and whenever I felt a little tired, she would heat up a compress or massage my waist. At first, I felt a bit embarrassed. Seeing her worried face, I let her do whatever she wanted. When her hands got tired, I would hold her hand to help her relax. Her hands, so soft and delicate, would gradually warm up, and I could clearly see her ears turning red, eventually coloring her neck. As the sunset fell, we walked hand in hand, feeling the tranquility of time. The marriage between Fu and Lin families made headlines across a city. The paparazzi took photos of us but were too scared to release them. So, rumors spread about how affectionate Melissa and I were. It was supposed to be a major positive event for both families' stock markets. But someone dug up information from a yellow website and started spreading malicious rumors about me, saying that I was a playboy who loved all ages, especially older women. They even claimed I was into the 4 pleasures of rich women. The storm it caused was huge. People began to speculate whether this century-old marriage would fall apart. Our family's stocks dropped, and Lin's company suffered as well. Given the scale of the issue, I couldn't keep my entrepreneurial past a secret anymore. I had nothing to hide, but I didn't want Melissa to misunderstand me as the kind of person the rumors described. So, I went to explain to Melissa, bringing the original report of the incident. Before I could show her anything, she held me tightly with eyes full of sympathy. Domingo, I'll always trust you. Something exploded in my mind. Trust was that simple, with no need for any evidence. Together, we reported it to the police, who immediately took action and apprehended the person behind the rumors. All the gossip came to an abrupt halt. The stocks bounced back, but I wasn't going to let those behind the scenes get away with it. Chapter 8. Both the Fu and Lin families took action, and it didn't take long to uncover that the person behind all the trouble was Oscar. I wasn't the least bit surprised by this outcome. When I sued Oscar, Diana and Elena, who were in High City, only then learned that I was actually a wealthy heir. They rushed to a city overnight to meet with me. Domingo, we didn't expect Oscar's unintentional mistake to cause you so much harm. You're so rich, can you just let it go and not stoop to his level? He's just starting out in the world. He doesn't know much. I immediately interrupted Elena. He's 22, not 12. He stole my credit and took all the glory for himself. I thought he was just too eager, but he repeatedly spread rumors about me. I'm no saint. The two of them couldn't believe Oscar would do such a thing. When I threw the evidence and photos in their faces went pale. How is that possible? They never imagined that the seemingly harmless Oscar had deliberately misaligned a photo of Mary and me riding horses, making it look like we were riding the same horse together, kissing. In reality, we were each riding our own horses. Later, he took a picture of me looking pained and holding my waist after injuring it. In that pose, it did look suggestive. Given the privacy of the private riding club, he had calculated that I couldn't obtain surveillance footage to prove my innocence. So, he took the photos and claimed I was involved with Mary, and no one questioned it. He was clever, only sharing the photos in the club's internal group, emphasizing that they couldn't be leaked, or else it would ruin Mary's reputation. What he didn't expect, though, was that Mary would eventually find out about his lies and credit theft. Even more unexpected was that Mary, upset by the rumors, decided to withdraw her membership and encouraged her friends to do the same. Elena trembled, her face full of disbelief. Oscar, how dare he? I treated him well, so why would he do this to you? I shrugged nonchalantly. That's between you two. Don't ask me. Diana pressed her lips tightly together, no longer pleading on Oscar's behalf. Her gaze was no longer one of disdain or contempt. Instead, it had returned to the familiar, once tender affection. I was disgusted by this realization. I quickly turned to leave, but the two of them grabbed me on either side. Domingo, don't leave us. Please don't marry her. We were misled, misunderstood you. You didn't really suffer any real harm. Can you forgive us? I forcefully pulled my hands away, returning the slap they had once given me. What do you mean, no real harm? I injured my waist trying to get Mary to visit our club, ended up needing surgery. You just took advantage and let Oscar spread rumors about me. You got me drunk to celebrate Oscar learning to drive, and I had an allergic reaction and had to be hospitalized. How is that not harm? Domingo, you really went to the hospital twice. Even if it was an allergy, it couldn't have been that serious. Why didn't you tell us? I looked at them as if they were idiots. I pulled up the video of Oscar drinking. See, this is what I mean by not that serious. Finally realizing they had been deceived, they understood that I had no reason to lie. Diana raised her hand and slapped herself hard. Domingo, I'm so sorry. It was our fault. But the club was something we built together. Can you really walk away from it? Yes, Domingo. We agreed to make the club bigger and stronger. Once we had enough money, we were going to travel the world together. Remember, if you get married, how will the three of us ever travel the world again? I took out my phone and showed them the share transfer agreement I signed with Freya. Sorry, but the club is no longer my concern. You two can continue with Oscar, but I'm only going to be with my wife. The two of them stared at the transfer agreement, their faces a mix of anger and shock. Domingo, you knew Freya and we are rivals. How could you transfer the shares to her? Even if you didn't want the club, you should have transferred it to Elena and me. Chapter 9. I knew they would try to twist things later. I immediately pulled up the email I had sent to both of them at the time. Take a good look. From the moment you insisted on bringing Oscar into the club despite my objections, I sent you the share transfer notice. Unfortunately, I waited for 30 days, and neither of you responded. According to company law, that means you both tacitly agreed I could transfer my shares on my own. Freya made me an offer I couldn't refuse. After all these years of working like a mule, I'm not going to keep sacrificing myself as I leave. The two of them quickly logged into their work emails but found that there was no email from me. With my gentle reminder, they recovered the deleted messages, their faces instantly turning pale. It was Oscar. Oscar deleted the email. There's no way we would have agreed to the share transfer otherwise. What a pair of legal ignoramuses. Even if they disagreed, what of it? There's no law saying that starting a business with them was equivalent to a lifelong contract. Enough with the talking. Instead of wasting time with me, why don't you go back and figure out how to win Mary's favor and clean up your mess? Diana bit her lip, her eyes red as she told me. Domingo. But Mary said that now no one from the wealthy circles dares to visit our club anymore. Oh, my indifference made the two of them sweat nervously. Domingo, we know we were wrong, but the club was also your creation. Can you really bear to see it fall apart? Thinking of Freya's advice, I decided to show some mercy. Freya is also a shareholder now. If you're really desperate, you can go ask her. She should be able to save the day. Seeing that I really didn't care whether the club survived or not and that I was even using my rival to shame them, Elena was almost in tears. Domingo, even if you don't care about the club, how could you just leave me and Diana behind? I know you're angry at us for taking care of Oscar, but you can't treat your marriage like a joke. A marriage of convenience for wealth. There's no love in it. And Melissa is a known cripple from the wealthy circle. This is a pitfall you're jumping into. Diana quickly chimed in, nodding her head. What's so great about a cripple? What can she give you besides money? Being with her is like being a widower. Elena and I can give you all the money and love you need. Please come back to us. We'll be like we were before. I couldn't help but laugh. My parents always said I had bad judgment when it came to people. I used to deny it. Now, I truly understood where I went wrong. These two nobodies, and I mistook them for treasures. Even if she's a cripple, you're not even worth a strand of her hair. Besides, I don't need the so-called love you two are offering. Don't insult love by calling it that. Just thinking about how they wanted me to sacrifice my dignity to help them win back Mary made my stomach churn. Even though they had mistakenly thought I used my appearance to win clients, they had no right to ask such a thing. That was the last straw. Yet, neither of them realized their mistake. Domingo, we didn't force you to go after clients. You did it willingly. Nice try. It was my fault. I spat in my own face, cursed my poor judgment. Diana noticed my expression and immediately slapped Elena across the face. If you don't know how to talk, just shut up. You've already pissed him off, and you're still saying things that hit below the belt. Chapter 10. Elena had been holding back her anger and, upon Diana's slap, retaliated without hesitation. Who are you to lecture me? When I brought up that idea, you were right there too. Why didn't you speak up? So I'm the bad guy, and you're the saint. Huh. Every time Domingo went to meet clients, I insisted on tagging along because I didn't trust him. You kept saying I was trying to take advantage of the situation, that I was competing with you fairly. And what did I get in return? I ended up just hanging out with you at the club, doing nothing. You're so brave. Why didn't you go meet clients instead? Diana's eyes turned bloodshot with fury. The two of them started bickering and shoving each other right in front of me. Are you really saying this isn't your fault? Who was it that saw Oscar and couldn't move? Kept saying he looked pitiful and needed help. Did I bring Oscar back to the club alone? If it weren't for you lusting after his abs, trying to flirt with him, and pulling me and saying it would get under Domingo's skin, where are we now? Now that it all blew up, you're blaming it all on me. Huh. The two of them kept accusing each other back and forth. Just then, Melissa arrived. Looking worried that I might get caught in their mess, she quickly ran over and stood behind me, grabbing my hand tightly. Domingo, I'm sorry I'm late. Did they hurt you? After confirming I was unharmed, Melissa looked at Diana and Elena with an icy cold glare. The two, still arguing, froze when they saw me holding Melissa's hand. She was fair-skinned, beautiful, with both legs intact and moving easily. They couldn't believe their eyes. Domingo, who is she? Melissa coldly replied. I'm the so-called cripple you two have been talking about. The two of them exchanged a glance, their hatred boiling over. Without another word, They clenched their fists and charged at us, attempting to separate my hand from Melissa's. But they underestimated the power of the Lin family. They were immediately stopped by Lin's bodyguards, and Melissa, furious at how they had treated me, slapped one of them. "Don't let me see you two again. If I do, I'll slap you both every time." Under the sparkling lights, Melissa and I walked home hand in hand. The next day was our wedding day. I thought Diana and Elena would have given up by then, but to my surprise, they showed up at my wedding. Looking completely exhausted and attempting to crash the hotel, they yelled about loving me, saying they couldn't live without me, insisting they were the ones who should bear my children. But nothing could stop me and Melissa from exchanging our rings and sharing a passionate kiss. They were easily escorted out by security. The only thing they could do was watch us from the screens, tearfully witnessing our magnificent wedding. Afterward, when I saw pictures online of the two of them crying in each other's arms, I felt nothing. I could give up the club I had worked so hard to build. What were two people who had repeatedly hurt me? When my parents found out what Diana and Elena had done, they secretly worked with Melissa and sent Oscar to prison. Then they forced Diana and Elena into a corner and bought the club we founded. To them, that club represented 5 years of my hard work, and they wouldn't let those two trashy women touch it. In the end, the club came back to me, but Melissa and I were too busy managing the Fu and Lin conglomerates to care about it anymore. I entrusted Freya to take care of it. After all, without her help, I wouldn't have found the evidence of Oscar's sabotage so quickly. After our marriage, Melissa and I grew closer, and both of our family businesses thrived. Everything was back on track.